Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hot Dummies on Islands feed. Today, we are talking about the first 3 episodes of Lovers and Liars, aka F Girl Island. I'm, of course, Kirsten MacInnis, joined as always when F Girls and F Boys are around by Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm so good. You know, we have to rename the feed. It's Lovers and Liars on Islands because apparently we're just changing the names of things and acting like nothing happened and just
It's wild,
sorry
especially
for the
once
rebrand.
once you start watching. It's like Nikki Glazer's like, "Welcome to F Girl Island," and I'm like,
Yeah.
all I can think of is, do you remember a couple years ago when they changed the name of the challenge season and they like dubbed over TJ Lavin, like saying what the
No.
original name was?
What season was that?
I
Oh my
can't.
God, they dubbed over?
I need Scally or Matt
Uh,
LaGuardia to confirm for me, or I'll be Brian Cohen, Ali any of the
yeah.
challenge experts.
Any of our challenge
But I'm pretty
people.
sure the season was supposed to be called Bloody Hell, and then it became like
Oh.
War of the Worlds or something.
Okay. That's so
Um,
that's so messy. But like in this case, we literally just get a like introduction recorded of Nikki Glazer being like, "Welcome to Lovers and Liars, blah blah blah." And then that is the only piece of the of the series thus far that ever refers to anything related to Lovers or Liars. By all other intents and purposes, this show is still F Girl Island.
It's simply F Girl Island.
It's
It
F
is
Girl
what it
Island.
is. I don't understand. I was trying to like suss it out. I was talking to my sister. I was like, I don't understand why they changed the name. Like it's operating as F Girl Island in the show. Like she calls them
They're
F girls
referring
and
to
nice
them, yes.
girls. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. And she was like, maybe they had like a market research and someone was like, there's no such thing as an F girl. There's just effing liars.
And to be fair, like, I do think that this probably because I was talking about it with Phil too, and he was when I told him that this is what it was called, he's like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Is it because it changed networks?" And I'm like, "Well, it technically changed networks last season, and it was still called FBoy Island on the CW. So I don't know why they're changing it now, but maybe they got feedback that like we're not on HBO Max anymore, like." Even though the entire show is still using like the reference of F-boy, it's still such a theme, but maybe they just think in
Mhm.
terms of like a title where it's being seen a little bit more broadly, that like it's giving some sort of reputation to the show that they don't like. I mean, as we discussed on FBoy Island season 3 pod, my mom referred to this show as just F-boy. So it resonated with her. So
Yeah.
maybe,
That's
they
branding.
spoke to
That's
people.
memorable, you know?
Yeah, that's
Whereas
true.
like what's
The island
like
part wasn't important, apparently.
like maybe they're not even on an island. Maybe
They might
they're
not be.
on
It's a
a
soundstage.
peninsula. But okay, so if F Boy Island were to get renewed, would they call it Liars and Lovers to differentiate it from Lovers and Liars? Or would it be F
I
Boy
think
Island?
that see, that's the thing is I think that they would probably just call it Lovers and Liars again, unless they get new feedback that that's worse for some reason, and
Mhm.
they just the theme, it's like you find out which theme it is, or they go back and forth. I don't know why they would change it at this point. But your sister's right, is like no one's saying F girl. Like F boy became a thing,
Mhm.
well, not F boy, it was fuck boy. And
Well,
then
yes.
we couldn't just, even if it was on HBO Max, we couldn't call the show of Fuck Boy Island, so it became F boy, and then that became a thing through that. But the show kind of was responsible, in my opinion, for coining the term F girl because of how F boy became such a thing in the show.
Yes.
So it's not really a thing outside of this world. I've never heard anyone refer to
I
people in real life as F girl or fuck
yeah,
girl.
I've
Really?
maybe
Like,
like a little bit, but not to the extent where it's like a thing,
yeah, it's
right?
not
And
a
so
real like actual term that people are using
yeah,
often. Yeah. So
exactly. So
maybe they
that's
took
okay.
the change of, format as an opportunity to rebrand, but they clearly did it after the fact, after
Yes.
all of it was filmed, and they're like, "Oh, okay, Nikki, do one take here. Just tell them it's called Lovers and Liars," and apparently they won't notice the rest of the time that we
I
are referring to this show as welcome to F Girl Island. They could have dubbed over it.
Period. Like, just insert the reel that they posted before the season of Nick Glazer being like, lovers and liars, lovers and liars, lovers and liars.
See? Exactly. They had more than enough. They could have just dubbed over that.
The footage existed, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So Lovers and Liars, aka F Girl Island, is here. And so, of course, Jenny and I are here to talk about it. There have been 3 episodes so far. So we're going to like touch on the major events, but mostly talk about like why this show is worth watching, why you should check it out, and just honestly have a good time, have some good vibes. If you are a video podcast viewer, there is a video of this on YouTube, on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube, if you want to go check it out, and then we can get into some like discourse and like comments. That's always fun.
It's always good when there's a place to you know, have conversation about said pod.
A little chat room for us, which is so good. But yeah, basically this is FBoy Island, but with boys as the 3 leads and then a bunch of women, rather than 3 women and like 24 men. It does lean into the past 3 seasons of FBoy Island. All of the men are previous contestants, and one of the women is a previous contestant. So they've really created an insular community for their show, which I don't know if that's like from a marketing perspective the best move.
I mean, what I will say is I am more interested in this show because I agree with using the leads, like, you know, because we see this happen with Bachelor Nation, where, you know, we get to a point where basically every season the lead is a contestant from like either the previous season or a previous season, and I think it helps to have some lore for those people and to have some investment in who they are as characters. There's already built. You don't have to learn as much about them, and then you can learn more about the other contestants that way. I don't know why we're bringing in like previous leads to be thrown into the mix after the fact. That is a whole other thing I didn't really understand. But I will say, especially for this introduction to like a new format, I love that we have 3 men that we are familiar with for many reasons. But yeah, you know, if they're going to keep doing this, we're going to potentially, like, if they do another Lovers and Liars where it's the men as the 3 contestants or 3 leads or whatever, I don't know if we're going to just go back to the well again, or if we're going to have to go do another FBoy Island first and get some fresh meat in there. I have no idea. But yeah, every single one of these seasons, there's always someone at some point is coming in and has been on another season. There has never been a season of this show where 100% of the people like, I guess the first one. The first one.
Only the first one. When there was no pool to go into. But it's been for seasons.
And I'm sure someone was on another reality show from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it wasn't even completely pure. They'd had
probably,
some sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. But yeah, so it's. They're bringing back, we've gone into the past, so I guess we could talk about the 3 men. So for anyone who's not watching but has maybe listened to us talk about this show in the past, the 3 men are CJ, who was a finalist in season 3, Benedict, who was a losing finalist in seasons 2 and 3, and Casey, who I think went like mid-season, season 1, and then lost in the final season 2 when there was the reveal that Tamaris was actually on the show as an F girl.
The original,
I guess they coined the term F girl.
That's what I'm saying. Is like that was like, I feel like that was like the first real use of that. And the big surprise at the finale of season 2.
And I think a big missed opportunity for Tamaris to be one of the people that came back, where she can be like, I played FBoy Island as an F girl, and now I'm here to be a nice girl and like share the money. I just feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah. They're gonna bring back somebody and it's not gonna be her. But that's fine. Yeah, no, it's kind of, only the men no, it's not even only the men get second opportunities, but yeah, like they could be doing the exact same trope where it's like I've switched it up from the last time, like I'm coming in with a new role. And I think that would be more interesting, but perhaps that's what's happening with Mia. We can get to that, and we just haven't been revealed. And also, Kirsten, we're only 3 episodes in. There's still time for Tamaris to show up. Like,
That's
never say
true.
never.
Bring
She
her
might be like,
back.
I messed up. Like, especially because Casey is the person, like one of the 3 guys here. Like, Tamaris could be showing up at some point and being like, you know, I regret what I did every day, and I still think about Casey all the time, and I knew he was truly there for me, and this is my opportunity to get him back. Like, I feel like that's like just asking to be a
I got
storyline.
goosebumps
You
when you
know?
said that.
So, I mean, 3
Yes.
episodes in, that might be what you have to look forward to on this season.
I would love to
And if
see
it doesn't
it.
happen, I'm sorry. I just have better ideas than the producers, I guess.
I think even if she's not a contestant, I feel like they will bring her back at some point just to like talk to Casey.
Yeah. Or
I
like
don't know.
she'll be there to like she'll come to visit like Mia or something, and that'll just like stir up some like drama. I don't know. Like, just use that. Come on.
Bring her back. So,
Great
okay, what do
ideas.
you think of these 3 male leads? What do you think
Okay.
of CJ being a lead?
Okay, this is going to be a theme of the 3 episodes here, and one of the most fun parts of this show so far is that normally the leads are like rootable characters, and it's like we don't want to see them get insulted or dunked on or anything like that, and that is why this is different, because the women that get eliminated are taking shots at these men on their way out,
They are
and
roasting them.
in a way that is like very entertaining, and received well. Like, they're all being very good sports, which is fun. But the common commentary about CJ is that he's a snooze. And unfortunately, I'm sure he's a lovely human, but so far for me, in terms of being one of the 3 choices here, I don't know if it's just because we only got 1 season of him and we got 2 seasons of these other 2 gentlemen, but I am just like, why couldn't it have been Mercedes? Like,
It should have been
it
Mercedes.
should have been Mercedes, and then we could have had the pattern of also let's continue the saga of Benedict and Mercedes being on every single season together. I just think that would be more fun. But CJ, they really played up that like CJ really got his heart broken by Daniela, which I was like, really?
Like, we thought that he liked Daniela.
But
I feel like I would have to go back and listen to our old pods, which I just am simply not gonna do because I love myself and I don't wanna like become critical of myself in that way.
And
but like,
please use
I
your
feel like
time
CJ
better.
was like fine.
He
Like,
was
I'm trying to
fine.
remember, like, what do I remember about CJ? I remember when
They
he
had a
barely
bath.
fit in the ice bath, and he was too tall. And then I remember us looking up his basketball record to be like, is this guy gonna go? Like, he's obviously not going pro
And
based
he's
on his
super
record.
young. He's like 24.
Mhm.
So it's like understandable. Like, you are a pro basketball player, even if not the NBA, but like you are a pro basketball player. You're 24. Like, we should not be, surprised or upset that you are an F-boy. Like, that should almost be assumed.
Like,
Because
he's 6'7"
you're
and
traveling.
he's an F-boy? Shocking.
Like, there's too many things here where it's like you're tall, you're young, you travel. I just really don't think that you are here to find a partner. But apparently that this is what they're trying to say about CJ, is that he, he's changed from the experience of season 3, I guess. Those 12 days or however long they were actually there really just like, this man did not even make it to the final 2. Like, he was cut at 3. The final 2 ended up being Christian and that other terrible human, whatever his name was. Jared.
Jared. Yes, Jared.
Pretty sure every Jared that's been on the show is toxic as hell. So yeah, like, he didn't even make it to the very end. And he was an F-boy, but they're playing up that I'm the reformed F-boy. And now this is my opportunity to truly find love at the ripe age
I
of 24.
I do think it would have been really entertaining if they had brought in one of the just, like, horrible men that have been on this show to be one of the 3 lead, like, to be like if Jared was here as the lead and now he
Oh
like,
my God.
played that woman all season long, Daniela,
Yeah.
and then now he
Yeah.
has to come back and women are playing hi like, that's turn the tables, you know?
For
Like, that
sure.
to me is more like, Jared was an entertaining TV character. A
Oh, yeah, he was a
demon,
villain.
like,
I said he should be on
going
House of
straight to
Villains.
hell, but yeah.
Yeah, like, he was horrible, but he was at least making it good television, and he was giving us confessionals. CJ was an F-boy that easily could have just been a nice guy, and
Yeah.
that made him not super interesting, in my opinion. But the other thing that isn't clear to me, and I'm leaning towards they haven't seen it, is I don't think any of these contestants have seen season 3
Yeah.
because I don't think any of them are familiar with CJ. So one, I think that puts them at a little bit of a disadvantage, or maybe an advantage in that, like, people don't have anything to compare to. They don't have any, like, poor opinions of him from previously. But also, it's like, that makes it even funnier to me that everyone's takeaway is like, he's kind of boring. He's kind of dull. And it's like, you
Which,
didn't even
like,
see him on TV yet.
and, like, it makes him probably, like, a better person in general,
For sure.
but maybe not a great reality TV
Yeah.
contestant,
You know
which is
what?
too bad.
It is too bad, but I think the other 2 are carrying the load,
Yes.
so that's totally fine, and I think that, you know, I think I can see CJ easily ending up with someone for a minute from the show. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will go well. I'm sure he will like whoever he picks. They'll share the money, unless, I mean, he could pick an F girl, but anyway, it's fine that he's there. I just think that there could have been more intriguing picks, but
Yes.
you know, the show saw something in him and they had to include him, and he's perfectly fine. It's just a little bit like lacking that spice that I get from the other 2.
But Kate, here's the thing. Are Benedict and Casey just the same man in a different font?
Yes. Yes. The point, yes, but in different, yes, like you said, different font. It's funny because even Phil, who's like a very casual, like, has not fully watched any of the seasons, but is like
Mhm.
aware enough of who these men are, like, kept getting them confused. Not that they look the same or anything like that. It's just they have like that similar, like, vibe of being like, I'm a goofy guy, and, like, you know, it's like, I'm kind of an idiot. Like, you love me, but you hate me. Like, you'll get frustrated at me, but, like, we'll laugh it off later. But unfortunately for me, I like so I least for them to be on television. I think they're fun characters. But yes, I do think that they have very similar vibes. But it seems that the general consensus is that Benedict is more genuine or more likable, because we get a lot of, like, comments from the women saying that Benedict is truly a nice guy. Like, they feel bad for him, because and they had opposite, like, entries and, like, paths and arcs,
Yes.
because what happened was CJ started off as an F boy, and then when he came back, he played as a nice guy, and then
Casey.
Casey, yes. And then Benedict started off as a nice guy, got his heart broken, comes back, and he's like, this is my villain origin story. I'm gonna be an F boy this time.
And yet
But
he's never been a villain ever.
that's the thing, is, like, I think that he was just like, I'm gonna try this out and see how it works. And I just don't think that that's actually really him. So that I think that that's why people are a lot more sympathetic to Benedict. But yeah, that's why I feel like we're missing a Mercedes. You know what I mean? Like, we're
Yeah.
missing someone that has, like, that, like, cocky, but, like, really, like, slick and, like, funny, biting sense of humor instead of, like, the
Yeah.
goofy sense of humor. We're missing that, and CJ is not
Yeah.
the person that's filling that gap, unfortunately. So you're very
Yeah.
right that, yeah. But I'm still happy
Mercedes
with
has that
those 2.
undeniable riz that we're missing.
Yes. Like, the man does not lose. And Benedict, all he does is lose. Like, that's
Benedict is literally like, nice guys finish last because Mercedes always wins.
And also, FBoys finish last because even when I was an FBoy, I also lose. He's
Yeah,
like, no matter how I do this,
he
I can't win. The only way for me to do well on this show is to be on the other side, I guess.
And what would be so okay, it would be horrible for Benedict, obviously. But I think that the most complete story arc possible is that Benedict chooses an F girl who steals the money, and then it's just like Benedict loses again.
Oh,
He's Charlie Brown, and winning this
no,
game is the football, you know?
that's happening. Like, I think at this point that is happening. Unless because it does seem like I was saying, you know, the women are kind of finding, like, there's some women that see him as an easy mark.
Mhm.
And I think there are some that want to manipulate him, and they almost feel like they couldn't do it because they actually think that he's a nice guy. Because a lot of these F girls on this cast, which is why this is so fun, are just kind of like, I'm here to make money. You guys are doing retribution for all of the men that have done me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm about to get that paycheck. And sorry, it has nothing to do with you, but like, it's time to like reward me. And you guys are going to pay the price. And so I think that some of them are like, oh, it's really hard because of the 3, like Benedict, it's like you just feel bad for him, you know? You're
I
like, oh
think
man, buddy.
I think that's a really insightful point though, because like if you look at just like all of the FY Islands plus the show in a vacuum, right? It's
Mhm.
like F boys are just F boys because that's who they are and they're horrible. And then when you meet the F girls, it's like, but what pushed them to this point? What man turned them into
There's
this?
an explanation.
That's
It's
how
like
I
all of it is the man's fault. It's like, you're just like this because of who you are.
yeah.
And the women, they have an explanation, and it's probably another man. Sorry.
Sorry, like, just the way
Yeah.
it is. I also think, like, normally on, like, F-Boy Island, the women are really, like, trying to be detectives and suss out, like, who's an F-boy and who's not, and I feel like the
Mhm.
men's radar is just so broken because they will pick, like, the most ridiculous thing and be like, "This makes me think you're an F-girl," and it's like, that she was too shy to come talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, yeah."
They end up eliminating several girls
Yeah.
with, or at least putting them into the bottom 2 or whatever, with the rationale of, you didn't approach me or any of the other guys, which makes me question what your motives are. And I'm like, bruh, like, you should be questioning the motives of the person that is the most involved. And like, that is the person that is like coming to make good TV, to be a villain and know it and own it. Like, the shy girl that isn't approaching any of you because they're probably intimidated by all of these other like women that are bringing like alpha energy. Like, those are probably the actual nice girls.
Right, and
So
it's just like, maybe the person who's immediately talking about you being their boyfriend, is actually more of a problem.
yeah, yeah. No, they like, they don't recognize the flags, even though they do have a few sex, no sex yet. I
Ooh.
don't think a few
Not that we know of.
successful eliminations. Their like commentary on why they think certain things about these women is almost entirely off.
It's like, "Oh, you're confident. You must have bad intentions."
Yeah, yeah. But also, you're shy. You must have bad intentions. It's like,
There's
make it make sense.
once again, there's no right way to be a woman. Wow,
Mm,
shocking.
wow.
They
Here we
did, like,
are.
the little entrance thing with all of the women that they do but with all of the men on F-Boy Island, but I didn't clock any of it except for, I think her name is Jasmine, possibly? Or
There is
Jazzy
Jaslyn.
Jaslyn?
I think
Jaslyn,
Jaslyn.
thank
Is
you.
that the one
Sorry,
that's with Benedict?
Yes, and
Yeah.
when she puts Benedict into a headlock,
Oh,
I
yes.
did think that was funny. That was the only
It
notable
was
thing for me.
incredible. There was, well, my takeaway from the intro, thing and the whole point of it is they raise you do your little intro thing. They raise a red flag or a green flag, and if you got all green flags, you got, extra time before the mixer, I think that was how it worked.
I think so,
Um,
yeah.
something like that, and, my takeaway was, "Hey, women and men are both cringe." This was
Yep.
so uncomfortable for me.
When
Um,
that yoga instructor girl said, like, "Who's gonna
oh,
stretch me out later?" I was like,
I
home to
I
bed, like, it's over."
it was yeah, that was where my thought immediately went to, this was so uncomfortable because I was like, "I understand you're wanting to make an impression here. I just don't know if that's what we needed to do." And just, like, some of the one-liners were just so cringe, like,
Yeah.
it's you're almost I don't know. I don't really know what the right thing to do in this instance is because
No.
I'm trying to think of like going back to the guys and what they did. Like anytime someone danced, I like wanted to die. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, any, like,
pulling up their
reading
shirt, like,
auras or touching hands, I'm like, "No." Okay, wait. Actually, I think I know the exact right thing to do in this situation. If you are a woman approaching the 3 men in a lovers and
mhm,
liars scenario, okay?
yeah,
You walk up to them and you put your palm against each palm, being like, "Oh my god, look how big your hands
your
are. My
hands
hands
are.
are so
Oh my
small compared to
god,
yours."
I'm I am small girl.
I'm so small, look how big you are. I think you get green flags 100% of the time.
Just feed that ego, but, like, in a way that isn't so, like, transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I really don't feel like anyone did anything that, I thought was, like,
No.
well played, you know? I was mostly just thinking about how this whole thing would have been if I were on a show like this would have been the moment that I just considered leaving and being like, "I
And
don't think I
yeah.
can do this."
And like, the producers are coaching the people too, being like, "Oh, what
Yeah,
are you thinking? Oh, what if you did this? What if we brought you," like, it's I don't think anyone's doing straight up what they would want to do to meet someone either, which is really
or
weird.
they're giving
It
ideas
also
to them or something, like the ones that have
100%.
nothing, but I think that that's worse.
Yeah, it's
My
not
worst
good.
idea is probably still better than, like, whatever they came up with me for
Yeah,
me.
genuinely horrible, and what made it worse is while I was watching this part of the first episode, every ad I got was for, like, a church, and I was like, even the CW is saying, like, "You need Jesus."
You need Jesus, yeah. All of you're watching this show, we did rebrand, but you still need Jesus. Um,
100%.
I was muting the ads, so I don't know what I was getting ads for.
By the
Um,
end, I was speeding up the ads to, like, 10 times so that I
oh,
could just, like, get through it quickly, but the first little bit, I was not that smart.
I mean, it took me, like, halfway through the first episode to realize I could just mute the ads. But maybe
No
I
big
missed some
deal.
church, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
maybe you need Jesus, actually.
listen, we are watching this show so that we with eagle eye so that we can share it with the loyal listeners here. So I think that we do need to question our priorities here.
I think listen, I think you and I, based on our podcasting, are living the life of, like, we're gonna do what we want, and then, at the end of our lives, we'll ask for forgiveness for all the
Yeah,
wrong we've done.
we're exactly. It's like that is future Jenny and Kirsten's problem, okay?
Period. Um, the show is sponsored by Jose Cuervo again.
Yep.
They didn't say Jose Cuervo as many times as an
Not
F-Boy
yet, but we
Island,
got the
though.
sign. It looks like the
Yeah.
same, like, signature cocktails. They
They're
haven't
having, like, a
spiced it up.
lemonade.
Oh, there was a different one?
I don't think, like, at the cocktail parties, I think it's the same, but, like,
Okay.
every single date, pretty much, I noticed them drinking this, like, lemonade, which is, like,
Oh.
it's definitely, let's be clear, it has tequila in it, so
Yeah, that's
I'm just
probably the only
interested
liquor they
to
have.
watch out on that.
But yeah, it looks like the little, like, Cuervo, sign at the bar appears to be, like, the same signature. Like, nothing has changed. Like, I'm sure that, like, CJ probably didn't even go home. Like, he was just,
CJ and
like
Benedict stayed.
yeah,
They didn't leave.
exactly. They've been there. They just,
Yeah.
you know, changed. I don't even think they changed anything. Everything looks the exact same.
No.
I have no
The
idea where the
men got
men
to move
stay.
into the big house, and now the
But did
women
they?
are somewhere else. I don't know.
Because there was a point that Nikki, who once again is killing it at all times, said, "And men, you can go back to wherever you go." Because she said that it's the womansion that the
Oh,
ladies stay
yeah.
in. And then she said, "Guys,
But
you can go back to wherever you go." So I don't th-
maybe they're
are they in
staying
a
at the
hotel?
Nice Guy Grotto.
Oh yeah, they probably just repurposed that.
Yeah, or maybe Nice
Yeah.
Guy Grotto has become the womansion, and then the men are in the
Right.
big
That might have
house.
been, yeah, that
Or
would make
well,
sense.
wait, no, the women on season 3 each had, like, a yurt, right? Maybe
Yes,
the
they
men
had
each have
like,
a little yurt,
yeah, they had like their own like little like, yeah,
like a cabin
private
thing with, like, an ice
thing. Yeah.
bath.
Yeah. Cause Katie had her cat there.
I wonder if
Um,
CJ is in Daniela's little
he's like, "Oh, I've
room.
been in this bathtub."
I
And the
had a very
shower.
erotic shower in this
Yeah.
room that was
We
filmed.
remember the shower too. I've bathed
And
everywhere here.
listen, I think we remember the important parts of
Yeah.
CJ's time on FBoy Island, okay? He is
Yes.
a very attractive man.
He
We never
is.
said
And
anything about his appearance. I
yeah.
do agree that his
So
earring is cringe, though. That one F
I
girl
don't,
was right about that.
is it what, I don't even know if I've noticed the
He has, like,
earring.
one dangly earring. You've
Oh,
definitely
is it like the
noticed
dangly
it.
cross earring? Like that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like, that is like the F boy tramp stamp. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, it's like, but at least it's not permanent. It's like you can take that out. So it's like
Yeah.
when your F boy days are over, you can take out the little dangly cross earring.
Boy tramps.
I do have a version of that for my Sims as custom content, because sometimes you just
Wow.
have to make some F boys in your Sims, because that's just life.
You need it to be as realistic as possible, so
Yeah.
I like that
I
for
love
you.
realism. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Jenny loves
I'll
it.
make
There's
CJ
one
next.
thing I know about Jenny, it's that she loves realism, at
I
least in The
do.
Sims.
Yes.
So we get the first episode, we find out that, Michelle, and
Yes.
Jan Danielle are both F girls.
Yeah. Were those the only 2 confirmed reveals that we get?
I think so, like, there's a few
It's like,
other women where it, like, seems like they might be, but it just hasn't been, like, shown on their Chiron yet,
yeah, I
I
feel
think.
like it's like highly insinuated that I'm Camille. Is it Camille with
It's
the
I feel like they're trying to trick us with Camille.
Okay, that's what I was wondering too, because I was like,
Yeah,
why wouldn't we get because what the first thing we hear about Camille is from CJ, or sorry, from I'm seeing CJ's name on my screen.
that's okay.
Casey saying that she has the slick back hair
Yes.
in the intro, and that he said that like he always goes for F girls, and all of his exes have done the slick back. So it's like he feels like everything about her is screaming F girl to him.
And
But
I just think that means you're beautiful. Do you know how hot you have to be to pull off a slick back?
yeah, I know. It's impressive. I'm like, damn. And some of her actions and the way that she moves, and like the kind of like confessionals they give her, I can definitely see why they're trying to like almost insinuate that she might be an F girl. So maybe that's like a little thing that they're trying to like hide from us, like you said. Like, you know, the real reveal is that she's actually going to be a nice girl.
Yeah.
Because I'm just curious like why they do the reveal with some of them. I mean, they always do it, but I'm like, I feel like Michi, like I could have been well, I think like either of those 2, Jan Danielle and like Michi, like,
Yeah.
just giving them the right confessionals, it could go either way. But like I think they just knew that they had gold with those ones, and like we want to be getting the confessionals from these 2 all season long,
Yeah.
from the perspective of truly
They
truly what they're doing here.
I have to imagine that, like, every contestant gives, like, confessionals just based on who they are the whole
Okay.
season long, and then they
Yeah.
decide at the end, "Okay, these are the 2 that we're gonna
That's a good
advertise
that's a good
as them."
call. That might be the case.
Because like, Mishi is,
Um
like, acting evil in the confessional, and not very much does not give that energy in person.
Here's the thing. I think that a lot of these women know what each other are there as. Either they're talking about it, or they just have the women's intuition and just better perception and better reads than the men, at least on this season. Because I get impressions that, like, when there's eliminations, or like when people get put into the bottom two, the way that they're reacting and the way that they're kind of like grouping up and talking to each other, I sort of feel like a lot of them have an idea of like what the others are.
I think it could be, though, like, I think in general, women are socialized to talk about relationships a lot, and men, like, aren't necessarily, like, it's in a
Yeah.
heterosexual, like, obviously structure. I feel like men aren't necessarily talking to each other about their relationships as much. It might just be like, "Oh, yeah, like, I spent the night. Haha,
Yeah.
nice." Not like,
More so about
"Oh,
hookup,
this is
not so much about
everything that
the
happened on the date."
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that they're just probably just talking more in general, and there's lots of downtime, and they're going to be talking about, we see this happen in these episodes. They're talking about the ones that they're interested in, and they're talking about the ones that they're not interested in. And I think that some of that people are probably picking up on. Like, I get the sense that this girl isn't like any of these guys, and so
Yeah,
maybe that
mhm,
means something here. But yeah, I just like I just feel like I'm noticing like some of the grouping up of like friends. And
mhm.
I'm like trying to figure out, it's like, oh, dude, like these people know that they all have like the same intentions, or it's more so like I know that you're like, I'm a nice girl or whatever, and you're an F girl, but you're going after a different guy than me, so like you are an ally of mine. You know what I mean? Like, I'll keep your secret because you're not trying to like take my man, and I support you in your
Yeah.
ventures.
It could be. There might be a lot more strategy happening on Lovers and Liars than we've ever
Yeah.
seen on F-Boy
Emergent
Island.
strategy. You have to become besties with another contestant that is going for a different path, and then it's like you can use that to help each other.
Yes. So, I guess we should talk about the first elimination.
Mhm. Yeah, they did
Um,
elimination, like, the first night, I guess, like, that was they don't usually do that, I think they
I think they get a day normally and maybe
yeah.
some dates or something beforehand. Or
So
maybe
some
they
don't
do
even move
and
in.
we forgot. Who
They
knows?
made it
Uh,
seem like it was, like, a big thing, that it was, like
they
the
did.
reveal was that it was going to be an elimination later that evening, after the first mixer.
Yes. So, our bottom 6, so Benedict put Jasmine and Kiara in the bottom, said Kiara never talked to anybody and that Jasmine is missing a spark. CJ put in Brianna A and Alyssa. Alyssa didn't talk to anyone and Brianna didn't talk to CJ. And then Casey put in Jaina and Michelle U. He felt Michelle U is too nice and that Jaina is too confident.
So you can't win either way.
Yeah. Like,
It's
nothing
like,
you could do is right here.
sorry, I need this to be like, this bed is too soft, this bed is too hard. We need right in the middle. We need to Goldilocks
Yeah.
this
A
situation. You can't
classic
be too much of
Goldilocks.
anything because you're a woman. So if you could just tone it down or bring it up to my level, that would be great.
Like, these 3 things, bring it up. These
Yeah.
3, bring it down. Come
Yeah.
on. Can we just be moderate, please?
I will say though, to Casey's defense, there are some points during this 3 episode arc that like he kind of acknowledges that he's not 100% solely focused on just figuring out who are F girls and eliminating them. He's really, despite, what his instincts are about some of these women, he's mostly just trying to figure out who he's got a genuine connection with, because he acknowledges that ultimately it doesn't matter if if he doesn't actually have a connection with these people. So he doesn't want to necessarily just keep around someone he thinks might be a nice girl just just because of that, if he has like no interest or doesn't see it working out, because it's like that's just wasting his time. So I can at least like understand that rationale, but it's like he doesn't say that to people.
Yeah.
He's like saying that to the cameras. Instead, he's like telling them they're doing things wrong instead of just being like, I just don't feel the vibe.
Remember, he is, before anything else, an F-boy, okay?
Yes,
So
that is his original form. And he also says that it's like, what did he say, 70-30 at one point?
yeah,
That
he
he's
says
like
he's at
still
least
30% F-boy.
F-boy,
Yeah.
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 Like,
So, I mean,
okay.
it's still there.
And it was always under the surface. So, the eliminated 3 are Jasmine, Brianna A, and Michelle U. Jasmine and Brianna A were both F girls.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and they
And
called them
then,
out. Jasmine calls
yeah.
Benedict dull.
And she had 3 boyfriends waiting
3.
for her at home. I'm like,
Yeah.
did they know about each other? They will eventually by the time this airs,
They
maybe.
will soon, yeah.
Or did they all
She's like,
support this? Like, I have
maybe.
questions, you know?
She's
But
like, "I
also,
would have
yeah.
loved $100,000, but one of my boyfriends will take me on a trip, so it's fine."
Yeah. Her
Okay.
life is fine. So it's like, okay.
She's fine.
Yeah.
I liked, Brianna never learned Benedict's name, calls him "you in the pink shirt." I agree that CJ's earring is cringe, although you have made a good point about how important they are in, like, the F-boy ecosystem. And she says, "Oh, Casey, you're hotter in person than on TV." So that's good for
Yeah.
Casey.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how she felt, like what his baseline was to her, you know? But I mean,
Yeah.
she said hotter, so I think that is probably just a compliment. So really,
Yeah.
Casey got out of that one with like the least shots.
Just got complimented, and then
Yeah.
Casey eliminated Michelle Yu, who's a nice girl, who just said, "Wow, Casey, your luck is not too good, but, like, good luck with all these other women," which is, again,
Yeah.
like, nice. At least she didn't get
Mhm.
called dull or
No.
"you in the pink shirt."
Yeah, that's the thing is like we will I wonder if we will see the same theme throughout the season where, you know, generally the F girls are using the opportunity to be like, on my way out, I'm going to tell you all why I am not interested in you and you suck, which we saw nice guys even do this.
Yes.
Some
Some
so
of the
I'm like,
worst ones have been
yeah,
nice guys in these
exactly,
moments.
which, you know, checks out honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see if we'll see that trend here, because I feel like so far when nice girls are eliminated, they're nice. They're nice about it. And at least, you know, I feel like like I said, when the women are taking shots on their way out, they do it in a way that's kind of funny. Or at least maybe I just
To
feel that
me.
way because the guys take it well. And
Yeah.
we just don't feel as bad for them because they've done something at one point or another that, you know, they deserved it.
They
This
had
is for
it
somebody
coming.
else, you know?
Well, and you know what? Jenny and I own our biases, okay?
Mhm.
And I think anyone who's listening to this 45 minutes in knows that what our biases are.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
You know, I'm rooting for these guys, but I will also laugh at them when things go wrong. Like, it's, you know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like I'm just rooting for good television and entertainment ultimately above all.
period.
And I think it's funny when people leave and, you know, make it interesting. And in this case, I'm not as mad at the people leaving. So it's great.
100%. Yeah. And it's like, it's not like anyone's been like horribly mean so far. Like in past
No.
seasons, we've seen people being like, wow, this means you're not a woman of value because you don't like
Yes.
me. Like, it's like, that shit's mean. This stuff has been like funny, and the guys are taking it as like kind of a joke. So it's all in good fun for all of us.
Yeah, like I couldn't remember your name because you were not interesting to me and you have a cringe earring is like,
Yeah.
you know, like
You know what?
that's
Points
just
were
like,
made.
yeah.
Okay, so then we go into episode 2 where they have, it's a pretty straightforward episode, 3 dates, cocktail party
Mhm.
elimination. But what I did think was interesting is we find out that Danny, who she's interested in CJ, and she like literally tripped and fell on purpose to
Oh,
be like, oh, men love a damsel
icon,
in
queen.
distress.
She is one of my favorites so far. She's an early fave of mine. It's still
Yes,
early enough that I will be honest, I still can't remember the names of half of these people. There's still too many of them, and some of them are
so
not getting a
many.
lot of screen time. But from the minute we meet her and then she says, like, I have to do something to like get his attention, I freaking called it. I was like, because she said something about like a damsel in distress. I was like,
Yeah,
she is going to purposely fall. And I loved it because I think that it's such a power move because I think that in a lot of cases, people don't want to they want to be confident and not show like a vulnerable moment like that. And she like took a vulnerability to as like a power move and also isn't
yeah,
afraid to like embarrass herself or whatever. I thought that that was like amazing. I am someone who is literally the clumsiest person on planet Earth. And it's genius. I saw it and I was like, that is
yeah.
genius. I would have wanted to think of doing that myself if I didn't just
Yeah.
do it anyway.
No. The thing is,
um
Jenny, is you and I are clumsy enough that we would like try to fall on purpose and we'd like
and
break an
then we would
ankle and like be medevaced from Lovers and Liars.
oh god. Here's the thing though, I am one of those people who is like, I'm constantly hurting myself in
Yeah,
small ways. I knock wood have never broken a bone in my entire life,
me too.
or required stitches besides like surgeries,
Mhm.
which were not injury related. So I I think that I'm just really like on a day-to-day basis hurting myself in minor ways, like at all times. Like I cannot take a corner to save my life. I'm covered in
Yeah.
bruises at all times. So I would like to believe that if I did try to pull this off, that wouldn't be the time that I finally break my ankle or something like that. But also that might be the time. You know what I mean? It's like, of
It could,
course,
you
when you
never
actually
know.
try to do it, that's when you really screw things up.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I've also never broken a bone. I have had to have one stitch from an injury before when I was a little kid, but like I just know the minute I'm like, "Oh, let me weaponize my
Yes.
clumsiness,"
Karma.
that's
Yeah.
when it will be weaponized against me, and
Yeah.
I'll
No,
like
you're so right.
finally the ankle that's been sprained 100 times will just like break in half kind of
It's like
vibes.
that was the
That's
last straw.
like you're done. Oh, you did it on
Yeah.
purpose now? It's over.
Mhm.
But we also find out Danny is from the same small town in Ohio as Casey. So she knows him, which I
Yes.
feel like is a very interesting like wrinkle to all of this because I think that he's going to be like talking her up to CJ as
Yes.
well. So like I think Danny is here to stay
Mhm.
and here to
And I
play.
love that. I love that for her because, she she's going to be involved and she's going to be in a good position both ways, and that like you said, Casey will probably, assuming that they have a good relationship, and
Yeah.
that's probably how she got cast on the show in the first place,
Mhm.
although she's like gorgeous and it has been good TV
It
thus far
never hurts to
anyway.
know a guy.
Exactly. And so I assume that they actually have a good relationship or friendship. She's clearly not here to date him. And
Yeah.
so she's gonna have Casey in her corner. And also it because the other women know this, she's like a guaranteed non-threat for any of the women who are interested in Casey. And then also they kind of like want to probably befriend her. So like
Yeah.
if we're looking at this from like we're joking about like the strategy of Lovers and Liars or F Girl Island, but like in this instance, if there were strategy and you cared about that, like she's like primed for
Yeah.
the best position.
She is playing the
Yeah.
middle. It's really good. We love it.
And I'm assuming she's a nice girl just because we get confessionals about her really being interested in CJ, and that not just being like things that she's saying to other women. So unless, like you were saying before, where they're getting confessionals either way and they're just using it however they want it, I just feel like what we're getting so far is that she is that is
Yes.
her role here is as a nice girl. But we'll
Agree.
see.
Um, yeah, and she gets her first date. She's CJ's first date, and they go
Yes.
play like backyard basketball carnival game, which I thought was very odd. Um,
Okay, he plays
But
basketball, I guess.
good for that. Yeah, CJ talks about, like, when he's going to go pro in this episode, and I just wanna be like, "Bruh." I
He's
don't
still
know.
waiting.
Like, he
You're
could
not
go
gonna go pro if you keep doing these shows, my guy.
He's
Get on the
wasting
court.
his youth off the court, you know? But I guess, yeah, I at first I was like, "Oh, it's been, like, a couple years," but no, he probably filmed this right after, so he's still probably, like,
I'm saying
23,
he
24.
probably did not leave.
So maybe I don't know. I don't really know how pro basketball works, but I feel like if you're gonna go pro in the States, which is where the majority of the money is, he would already have been doing it if that was gonna happen
And it
for
sounds like he
him.
plays overseas.
Yeah, he plays for this like Winston
Yeah.
on New Girl.
Right. Yes. I've watched enough New Girl to get that reference at least.
Love that. Love that
Um,
for us. There's also so Casey's first date, he asks Camille,
mhm.
and Camille and Mishi already hate each other so much. Like, we haven't seen them, like, full on confront each other yet, but it's coming. They're gonna have a
Mhm.
screaming match,
Oh
and I
yeah.
can't wait. What did you okay, I felt like on Camille's date with Casey, she was not even listening to him talk, and she just, like, took the opportunity to start making out as soon as possible without answering his questions.
Which is why it's like that is, giving F girl. But we're not being told blatantly what she is either way. Because if she knows that he's attracted to her, then that's the weakness, then she needs to act on that weakness. And it's like, but then you could argue in the other way because she knows that he's concerned about her being an F girl because he literally calls out in that
Yeah.
like introductory thing that she's got the slick back and she looks like every ex that, you know what I mean, that he thinks that she's an F girl just because how she looks. So she already knows that there's like a preconceived notion about her. And so if she knows that she's the type of girl that he would normally be attracted to, does she lean into that and be like, okay, well, I'm going to make you even more attracted to me and get you so distracted by that you don't even
Mm,
care whether I'm an F girl or not? And
fair.
or do you take the opposite approach and be like, I need to convince him that I'm not actually an F girl and like slow my roll and kind of, I don't know. Like, I just don't really
Yeah,
know.
there's so
Again,
many
because I don't know what her
layers.
motivations are. Right. So
Yeah, it's tough. I think anything is possible. So we'll have to we'll be on Camille watch,
she's great TV no
as
matter
we
what.
watch.
She is a part of every episode so far
Yes.
in one way or whether it's about her or not. And I love that. So
The next time on looks like she'll be prominent in episode 4 as well. I think she's gonna get in
yeah.
a big fight, so that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's in other
Benedict's
people's business, which is great.
exactly where I want my TV
Yeah,
characters to be.
exactly.
So Benedict goes on a date with J. Danielle, and the date is her
Or that was
waxing
Jan
his
Danielle.
body. Jan
And
Danielle,
in my
sorry.
head, I just call her Jan Dan.
Jan Dan, that is a good way to remember it. I
Yeah.
can't keep the name straight, and I'm also just like, why does she have 2 first names?
It's well, especially because it's like there's some like double first names that you see, more commonly
Yeah,
together. I have never seen that particular combination
yes.
in a way where it's like not just your middle name and you never hear it. And it's also confusing because of the rhyming, like the Jan Danielle.
Jan
I
Dan,
am going
Jan
to
Dan.
end up calling her Dan Jan at points because that is what I call one of the baseball players on the Blue Jays named Danny Jansen. I call him Dan Jan, and now I'm calling her Jan Dan, and I'm going to screw this up. So she'll be
Yeah.
Dan Janielle at some point. Like,
Well, you set yourself up for failure now, but it's fine.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
okay, Jan
it's a tongue
Danielle
twister.
is
Yeah,
waxing him. She says one of her
classic
hobbies
first
is
date.
torturing men. So yeah, just like classic first date of waxing your date's body. Totally
Yeah.
normal, something that happens in the real world. I We know that Jan Danielle is an F girl.
She's trying to get that money. Yep.
And you can tell when she's like, "Oh, don't be a fucking baby," when she's waxing him.
And Benedict is going to fall for this. Like
He
he
does, yeah.
yeah. He's loving this.
He says
Yeah.
she really opened up to him and is like,
Wasn't that the girl that shouldn't that be the yoga girl?
listen, I don't know
sorry.
about that kind of yoga.
She's
And Jen Danielle's in the
stretch her
confessional,
out,
like,
open her up.
not open up. Jen Danielle's like, I got him. Like, done, dusted. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
getting the money from this man, no problem. And then we go to the cocktail party where I just cannot overstate how drunk Casey, like Casey is like glassy eyed through the whole cocktail party in the second episode. And I'm like, okay, he's just blackout. He's focused on vibes. I don't know if I can trust anything he says at the second cocktail party.
Which is fine, because I don't think that he's like he's been saying, he's not he's not in detective mode. He's just, like you said, vibes. He's like, okay, just gonna whittle things down a little bit here. So I might as well get blackout drunk and have a good time. And I'll figure out that when we're down to like 5 or 6.
There's unlimited Jose Cuervo here. I have to get wasted.
They didn't have that on season 1.
Or 2,
got
I
the
think.
CW sponsor life here.
Wow.
The Cuervo bar is new for Casey, so.
And he is taking advantage.
It up. Yeah.
I don't even think anything else. Oh, the only other thing that happened is that so Lexi is the yoga girl, and they kissed in the first episode. And then the second episode, she's like upset that Casey didn't even look at her this whole time after they had like an immediate spark.
Yeah.
That's like the whole plot point of this party.
Yeah. Which, I mean, in a way, I'm like, okay, because they're not all kissing people on the first night or the first episode or whatever. They're definitely it definitely happened with a few people. So I could see thinking like, okay, if I'm like one of the like only people that kiss them, like that must mean that like there's some sort of attraction. But then I don't know, I would almost be like getting in my head about it too and being like, oh god, it was a terrible kiss. And
like, oh, I'm a bad kisser. It's over.
What a terrible way to find this out, you know?
And
I don't really remember
worst case scenario.
Really, like having a like internal meltdown and on TV. But I truly don't remember how a lot of these kisses started. So I can't remember which ones, because some of them were just like fully initiated by the woman. And so like the men are just they're gonna go with it no matter what. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Also the other drama in this episode is with Benedict and a trio that they call the Powerpuff Girls, who I only know Elizabeth's name. I don't know all of.
Well, one of them is Camille, and then the other one I think is Anissa.
Yes.
Anissa.
And so they had a whole conversation where they were like, wow, like, do you think Benedict even has sex appeal? Like, he's just too funny. Like, he's not sexy. And then that got brought back to his attention. It like became like a whole weird thing. And then for some reason, Elizabeth took the brunt of it, even though she is not the one who said that. At least according to her, she might have said it. I don't know that.
Was this all in the second episode? I can't.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was in the second one, and then Elizabeth gets into more drama in the third episode.
Right. Okay. Yes. I think that's why I mixed it up, because she seems to just be unintentionally like getting into drama at all times. But the real issue there was that they were having this conversation in front of Jaslyn, who really does like Benedict, and they had already kissed. I think they also kissed on the first night,
they kissed on the first
or maybe
night
at like one of the first parties. And she's basically being like, no, I don't think so. Like, I think he's like, yeah, like I'm really into him. I think he's sexy. Like, and she kind of thinks like, hey, this is kind of rude. Like, one, you're kind of like talking shit on the guy I'm interested in. And like, when I'm telling, like, also, how am I supposed to feel, when you're saying this, like that kind of thing too, about like, oh, I think that maybe he just doesn't experience like sexual attraction. Like, I'm sorry,
you've
that would
known him for an hour. What are you talking about?
And if you're someone who is like building a connection with that person, like I definitely think that like that kind of criticism or like that kind of like, you know, assessment of them or labeling of them would definitely like get to you.
Yes.
So this was not a good move for them, and it does come back to bite them in the ass because it you know, Jocelyn ends up bringing it up to Benedict, and
Yes.
there's a confrontation about
And
it all.
in episode 2, I was like, "Oh, I think Elizabeth is taking the fall for something that really wasn't her fault." Like,
Yeah, and I
Anisha
had to
was more
see
pushing it.
yeah, it seemed to be like, well, because we got some like flashbacks to the actual conversation which took place, or like the explanation to him, and Elizabeth does immediately say, I didn't say that, but it gets so there's so much talking going
Yeah.
on that it kind of I think it got like lost in the shuffle. So poor
But
Elizabeth.
then, like, episode 3 happened, and then I was like, maybe Elizabeth did say it, and she just is, like, a perpetual victim."
So here's my take on Elizabeth, and we will obviously get into this more in the next episode, but this is what I think. I just think she's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And I say this with love because I think that she's not a bad person, and I think that she just isn't thinking straight in a lot of these instances and just doesn't say the right thing or like doesn't know how to like I'm just getting deer in headlights from her at almost all times, and it's like she just finds herself in these messes and she
Yeah.
doesn't she's lacking the ability to explain her way out of these things, and she just digs herself into like bigger holes.
When I think that happens on a lot of these shows where the people are generally, like, a big fish in a small pond in that they're, like, the
Yes.
hottest person in most rooms that they
In the
walk
like small
into,
town, yeah.
and
Yeah.
then now it's all of the big fish in a big pond, and it's like, I don't have any of the life skills to deal with this because I've never needed the life skills to deal with this
Yeah.
because I can just kinda, like, blink my pretty eyes up and move past, like, a misunderstanding, but now you actually have to have interpersonal skills because everybody is actually that hot here, so yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, she's like she freezes up in a lot of these instances where she's just kind of like her eyes get like big and she's just like literally
Yeah.
deer in headlights because she's like, what did I do? And I think that she truly just is not thinking and is putting herself or is getting sometimes getting dragged into these situations, but isn't doing a good enough job of like actually fighting against like the things that are being said about her. Yeah. So
100%.
she's going to continue to be a presence even though I have no idea who she's even interested in, whether she like
She wants
maybe
Benedict,
Benedict, but
apparently.
it's like I'm so
Allegedly.
confused by it. Like we haven't seen them actually have a conversation that is like yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where she goes from here. So, then we get the elimination. Benedict puts up Elizabeth because of that weird drama, and
Mhm.
Bree because Bree pulls Benedict for a chat to be like, "Hey, I see us as friends, but can you put in a good word for me with Casey?" And he's like, "Yeah, I will," and then eliminates her.
That was edited really fun because like we get the introduction of them like starting to talk and then you get like it spliced with the confessional of being like Bree is super attractive like da 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 and like him being like really excited to start talking to her and then she doesn't even really say like I see you as a friend. She's just like, yeah, so Casey, like da 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 da. Like she's just like immediately into anyway, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about you. Like, can you do something about this situation?
But it's also just like, again, as we said, Casey and Benedict are the same man in a different font. Like, just
Yeah.
maybe you could like this font since it seems like he likes you. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that they're aesthetically kind of different. I mean, I think that Casey is a little bit smaller. Um,
Yeah, a little shorter in stature, a little
um,
their
there's an
facial
age
features are a little
difference. I
different.
will
Yeah.
say for me, like no brainer, it's Benedict over Casey. Actually, I'm almost talking myself out of this as I'm speaking, but because I think that like Benedict is like 30 or something. Isn't I'm pretty sure he's like 32 or something. He's not in his 20s. And
Oh.
so I think that But that it could almost be an argument against him because I'm like, what are you doing here?
What?
What?
Oh, I think I pulled up the wrong person. I think I
Did you
pulled up
see
a
a
different
ghost?
person. Wait. Kate.
I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s, like, or
Yeah,
at least
Kate.
just 30.
But so here's what's confusing, okay? So
Yeah.
on famousbirthdays.com, it says that
Yeah.
he was born in 1990. He's 33 years old in a Scorpio. You know, that he doesn't really display that much Scorpio energy to me. I wonder what the rest is. But when you go to his Instagram page, he has a post from this past October where he says, "It's my birthday. I'm 43. What did I wish for?" So it's like, are you joking that you're
I think
43
he's
or did you
joking.
lie?
I think he's joking, because I think because 33 sounds right compared to what I remember from last season. But and I don't
And
know
it's
what his
also that
stand-up is
thing
like,
where,
but
like, the way
he's just
millennials are aging, you could tell me he's 33 or 43 and I'd believe you.
Yeah, no, that is true. I feel like he that is him making a joke, and it's
I
just
hope
like
so.
it's not even really that funny because
'Cause it's not clear that it's a joke.
yeah, it's like,
Like, if he
okay,
had been like,
you might be.
"Oh, I just turned 63," then I'd be like,
Yeah,
"Okay, I know you're
or
joking."
like my body feels 103 or something. Like even that is like just definitely very obvious joke. But yeah. So anyway, what I was trying to say is like the one difference is they definitely have like an age difference between them. So you might argue that maybe Benedict is a little bit more mature, but also sometimes that is not the case. It's not age is not always an indicator, and maybe the fact that he is constantly coming onto this show and not doing well
Yeah.
at his not that he's that old. It's like 33
And
is not
Casey's only 26, so it's
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like there's like
that
I feel like
fact changes my opinion.
there's a bit of a gap there, I feel.
Yeah.
But again, I still lean I'm more of a Benny girl myself. But you are correct that it is a lot of the same vibe. So it just might be that some of these women are just going for
Yeah.
a certain vibe that they're getting. I think that I actually think that Casey is a little bit more has a little bit more like Riz has a little bit more game,
Yeah,
and I think that
he does.
Benedict is a little bit more awkward.
100%. And that's why, like, so Bree does get eliminated here, and she is an
Mhm.
F girl, and she says she friends on Benedict because he's so nice. She didn't want to try and take money from him. She wanted to take money from Casey, trick him, and teach him a lesson. So, like,
Calls him a twerp, which I thought
which
was like
honestly, he kind
so
of
accurate.
is.
No,
He's
it was like
kind
a
of a
really
little
great
bit of a
insult
twerp. Like, I
because it's
never
like
thought of it before.
it's not an insult you're getting like that's not being thrown out but it hits like in such an effective way. It's like, yeah, Casey is kind of a little twerp. I like that. So you know what?
Yeah.
Like round of applause for Bree. She killed it.
She's an ethical F girl,
Yes.
okay?
Yes, exactly. She said,
Um,
"I wanted to trick you and teach you a lesson," and I support that
yeah,
because I don't
she,
think she fully
we
believes that he's a changed man. So
the thing is we support men's rights, but we support women's rights and wrongs, you know?
especially when the wrongs are because of men's wrongs.
Exactly.
It's a
It's
double
just a
negative. It becomes
consequence.
right. So, like, that's math, women in
She
STEM.
she was right. Yeah, we're 2 women in STEM. Um, so then CJ puts Yasmina up saying they had a good chat at the first mixer but didn't talk at the second one, and Elisa saying, like, you haven't shown any interest and it would be hard for our connection to catch up to the other ones. And he eliminates Elisa, who was a nice girl. She says,
Mhm.
your radar is bad. And again, just like we said, of course, the woman who's too shy to approach any of the men is
Is
obviously not going to be an F girl.
yeah.
But as we've said over the years, chemistry matters a lot more than the label of F or nice.
Yeah, because you can still make money. It's like, you know, it's there's other ways that this can work out. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um Casey puts up Jaina saying, "We have an intense chemistry, but you might be pulling me back to my F-boy ways." And Lexi saying, "We got off to a good start, but I might have a stronger connection with the others, and you might just be playing the game." But he eliminates Jaina, who is also a nice girl, and she just says, "You blew it."
You messed up. Yeah, I don't know. And I didn't really get much from Jaina except for
Yeah.
that he was saying that they had like some intense chemistry. Like I don't even remember. Did they really have? I get. Did
Have
they
they
kiss at some
spoken?
point?
Like,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember
Did
it.
they cut this out? Or was there just so much going on that I missed this? But I remember because didn't he put her in the bottom the previous one too, or maybe not? I don't know. I was just like that. She's a nice girl. I just sensed it. Like I knew it.
Yeah, and Jaina
So.
was in the bottom in the first episode as well, so
Yeah. He gave her
I don't
he gave her a strike. Oh, because he said that, yeah, she was the one that
you're
was
too
too
confident.
confident. So I think she was just giving like hot girl boss energy and he was attracted to it. And he said, I'm attracted to you. You must be toxic.
Well, egg on
And
his face.
Casey, you're dumb.
He blew it,
You blew it.
because they had a great connection, and she was a nice girl, so he blew
Apparently
it.
they had a great connection. I missed that.
We didn't see it,
But I believe her
we've
and
been
him.
told that it exists, so I think it's the thing where, like, if she had lasted more than 2 episodes, we would have seen their connection, but because she was in the bottom both times and just went
Perhaps.
home, like,
Yeah.
why would they show it to us when there's 20 million women on the show that we need to
Mhm.
learn?
And we're gonna get rid of a couple and just refill.
And that's what they do. Episode 3 of season 2 and 3 of FBoy Island is where they bring in the returning F-boys. So
Mhm.
they just had to stick true to form.
Yep.
So we go to episode 3. I liked when Benedict was making fun of Casey, like, "Oh, did she give you a swirly too?"
Because he acknowledged it's like a good, like it's like a very high school
Yeah,
insult. But in a fun, like it actually hits.
it worked.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just, I never thought of it. Casey is a twerp. It's who
Yeah.
he is.
Like
I hope
he
that,
was annoying in class.
yes,
And also getting girls. But like,
100%.
he's just a twerp. It's just factual.
Period. Um, Also factual is that CJ takes Kiara on a date and they sit on a bench and drink that lemonade that was on Casey's date in the first episode.
I need to be paying more attention to the beverages.
Why did I notice it? There's no
I don't know. Maybe you're
reason.
really thirsty when you were watching it and you were just like, a glass of lemonade sounds great right now.
I do love lemonade.
Yeah.
It's quite
I mean, it's delicious. But
what I
you're
love
right. I'm
most of all
wondering
though is
what's
a
in
nice,
it.
like, an Arnold Palmer with, like, the
Ooh,
lemonade
yes.
he would hit.
Oh my God. Refreshing as hell.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And so
what
that
we
was what their
learned,
date was about.
that was what their date was about,
No.
and we've learned that CJ knows American Sign Language because
Yeah.
his grandmother is deaf, and it was like, how did we
That's
watch a whole season of TV with CJ on it and we never learned this fact before? Like, that's
if we
wild.
learned this, I'm sorry, but I did not remember
No,
that.
we didn't
I
learn
don't
it
feel like it
because
came up. Because I feel
we
like I would
remembered
remember
all
if
the important
he
things.
Yeah, I feel like if he was teaching Daniela some ASL like that, we would have remembered that. But
Mhm.
perhaps we were also just too distracted by like Trash Man Jared, stealing the show. That is also
Was
still
stealing the
possible.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. And, like,
Yeah.
listen, we weren't paying that much attention to CJ except when he was bathing on the show. Like, but listen, that's all we remember.
He was bathing at a lot of points, okay?
Yeah,
That's what
it
we
happened a
got.
few times. Then they have a rave party. Everyone's just dancing and vibing, but Nikki comes, unplugs everything, and says, "Mama's home early. We need more estrogen," and brings in 3 new women.
New-ish.
Well, 2
I
new, 1 newish.
But I was like, okay, I looked. So we get Kim, Victoria, and Mia. And Mia was one of the 3 contestants from season 2.
Yes.
And I looked at these. I obviously recognized Mia. And I looked at Kim and Victoria and I said, am I supposed to know who you are? And like there was
Yeah.
something very familiar about I think mostly Victoria's face, where I'm like, have
Yeah.
you been on another show or something? Because
Well, because Victoria's every woman on these shows.
she looks like, you know, the horse girl contestant on a bachelor season, who's a nurse or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, why are we bringing in? So how do they make the decisions about the people that they bring in late? Because okay, yeah, this is like when you bring in Mia, that makes sense, and then just two
Yeah.
other women, like,
They just
could
brought
they
in
not
2
catch the flight?
alternates. Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
they had a
like,
later
"These
flight.
are the people that were almost, you know, charismatic enough to be on the cast. We'll just put them in 3 episodes later and give them a disadvantage." Like, I don't
Which is not what they should do, because
they should
you
put, like,
should be sa
Mishi in at this point.
yeah, you should be like, you should be saving, like, at least 1 or 2 people that is, like, guaranteed to make a splash.
Yeah.
And I don't get the sense that any of these 3, even Mia, who has, like,
Yeah.
history, and familiarity with 2 of these men. She was on a season where both Casey and Benedict were.
Yeah.
Um,
And she went straight
I
for CJ.
process of elimination. This poor girl, she's
Yeah.
like, well, let's try
That's
something
who's
new.
here for
Even
me.
though she didn't have anything with either of them on her season, but you know, the familiarity. But yeah, it doesn't seem like any of them make like a huge splash, and I feel like it was just kind of a disappointment. Like, I
Yeah.
really feel like the main cast is bringing more, and I just, like, if we're gonna bring people in, make it good, make it matter, make me
Like,
care
bring
about it.
Tamaris in to, like, put
That's what
Casey in a
I'm
blender,
saying.
you know? Like,
They should have just brought they should have brought Louise, Mia, and Tamaris. They said, we're running it back.
that would have been great. And this is where I'm like, we're so right about them filming it back to back with season 3 of FBoy Island, because if it hadn't been in the brief period when Katie and Vince were dating, they 100% would have brought Katie Thurston back because they
For
want
sure.
that Bachelor Nation clout.
Yeah, you have to, you know, bring the viewers over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not against the bringing in of people. I just think that it needs to feel like it makes sense and matters, and
Mhm.
it just
They have
felt
to
really
bring something to
random.
the table.
Yeah. So maybe it's on them, I don't know, but like, they're also the producers are choosing the people that they do this with, and yeah. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Kim ends up getting into some drama, sort
And
of.
then goes home.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
So
like,
it
it's
didn't
just
even we
a
almost
quick
lost 2 of them in this episode too, so it's just kinda
yeah.
like, did this matter? I did like Mia goes to CJ, and they have literally been talking for 5 seconds, and Yasmina comes up and goes, "Oh, can I steal him?" Which is just poor etiquette on these dating
Yes.
shows, and
Yes.
Mia says, "Hey, can we just, like, have a minute first? Thanks." And Yasmina goes back to the other women and acts like Mia tried to start World War III. Like, huh?
I mean, this is the thing. It's like, these people clearly got to choose how they were involved here. They, you know, Mia definitely said, "You know what? I'm going to wait and come in on episode 3, guys. Like, I want to be involved, but you know what? Save me for episode 3." So we should demonize her for just trying to get the time that she hasn't had yet. Yeah, this is like when you're
Yeah.
like, "Damn it. This is why they say that the girls alliance will never work. Get it
Ugh.
together."
Well, and it's also just like if Yasmina had like given them a minute before she asked, I don't think she would have had that result. But it was like they had just sat down and she comes over like, "Hey."
Yeah. The
So
seat was
just
still cold.
poor etiquette.
Yeah, yeah.
Sabrina and Casey have a bit of a vibe in this episode, which this is the first I recall seeing Sabrina on this show. That's when they're talking about like percentage of being an F girl, F
Oh,
boy
yes, okay, yeah.
situation.
I remember
Um,
that at least.
and it's so
Oh,
like
right, I remember Sabrina now, sorry, I had a complete blank. Yeah, and then weren't people, like, kind of, or it comes up that they were talking shit about Sabrina or something like that, they got thrown anyway,
I think
later
so,
in the
yeah.
argument. Yeah.
It's like it's very odd. There's also like at the party, Casey walks up to Camille and is just like, hey, I'm gonna go grab my friend Mia, who he like knows and wants to catch
Mhm.
up with. And Camille's like, wow, like, why would you act like you wanted to talk to me and then go talk to her? Do you even like me? And like, you can tell Camille's upset, and Casey's very taken aback. But I
Mhm.
also feel like Camille's right, and Casey did act weird about it.
Yeah, it was like he did kind of like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna go and talk to somebody else."
Yeah.
This is one of the things that makes me think like maybe there is a chance that Camille is not actually an F girl and really does like Casey, because it's
Yeah.
not like she's not going to see Mia as competition
Mhm.
for Casey, because she knows that or maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But maybe she's making the assumption that like that is your friend. You didn't have any sort of history on the show. So that probably feels too close to home, and this is a friendship thing. And so this isn't threatening to me. But
Yeah.
that maybe she just really wanted time with him so bad for her own purpose, like of
Yeah.
emotion. That's kind of like my interpretation of it, because it's like it's not like Mia is trying to like come take Casey's money from
Yeah.
you.
I
And she's not
agree.
trying to, yeah,
I think it's the thing where, like, if you're in this from a tactical standpoint of just getting money, you're never gonna make a fuss and get into a little spat with someone. So it
yeah,
just, to me, emphasizes that she does actually like him because she got upset about something that is so silly.
yeah. She was
Uh,
like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna give me attention, and I was really like looking forward to that."
yeah,
And I got the swerve. So that was my
exactly.
interpretation of it. But again, like, I don't know. She's a very interesting character. Like,
Yes, she is. I'm
yeah,
excited to see more of her.
yeah,
So then there's the other dates of the episode. I thought it was weird that CJ's date was before the rave and the others had their dates after. Like, it just
yeah.
felt weird. But Casey takes Sabrina on a picnic, and we find out that like he's worried that Camille might be an F girl, but Sabrina is like his safe space. And Sabrina's like, yeah, I'm just staying out of all the drama. Like, I'm not interested in what other people have to say. I'm just interested in my connection to you.
Yeah. And she, like this is such a like surefire way to like make the men happy too, to be like, I'm not going to spend my time worrying about who else you're kissing and all of that. They're like, oh, perfect. Like
Yeah.
I can spend like I like you, but also I don't have to like reassure you. So now, because you've gone out of your way to say like this doesn't bother you, you're actually going to get like less
Yep.
attention now, but that doesn't mean I don't like you. It's just like, oh, you're easy for
Yeah.
me
Like,
to
you
maintain.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
No,
"Oh, you're not gonna be mad, so."
maybe not a pro game move,
No.
but she'll get longevity out of it. I don't know if she'll get the win out of it, is the vibe
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Um, Benedict goes on a date with Jaslyn, because he wants her to put him in a chokehold again, and they have a wrestling date. They're just wrestling on a yoga mat.
This man is submissive as hell.
Oh, he loved it.
He loves
"Wait, do I like getting
Oh,
thrown
yeah.
around?" And I was like,
Yeah. He had a date
"Good
where he
for
got
you."
waxed, like, he's like, "Bring me the pain, ladies." Like,
And that,
I
you know
think he's
what?
choosing this.
You've opened up the vibe of why I'm not really into Benedict, because that's just
Yeah, you
not
know
for
what?
me.
And true. Actually, that is that, but yeah, no, because I'm saying, like, I'm not that I'm getting, like, opposite vibes from Casey either, but it's very, very obvious with Benedict. Like, he's
Benedict is
not.
saying, "Choke me and throw me around."
And then also rip hair out of the follicles, for a fun
"Hurt
little first
me."
date.
He said, "Hurt
Hurt
me.
me.
I like it."
Yeah. And once
Can't wait for his
again,
next date, which is gonna be tying him up and pouring candle wax on his chest. Like, what the fuck?
another classic. Yeah, this just leads me to the age-old suggestion I have here is therapy for you. Can
And
we
we
talk
all
about
need it.
why you feel like you need to be punished? Where does this come from? I think that I think that in his case, it feels like it is more so like I've done wrong, you know?
Interesting. Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
maybe. I would
I
love
feel
to
like,
speak to Benedict and or his therapist about
yeah, at the
this.
same time. Let's just do group therapy
Group
here.
session. I would love
No.
it.
I feel like I really like Benedict's connection with Jaslyn. Maybe because I can tell that she's genuine and really likes him. And despite the fact that I
Yeah.
will like make fun of Benedict at times, there is a part of me that is rooting for him to stop losing.
Yeah,
Stop failing.
it'd be nice if he won for once.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
We get another mixer. Casey and Camille talk it out. I don't think they actually talk it out. I think Camille just realized that it did not do her any favors to get mad at Casey. So she's just kind of like, I
Said
take
I
it
had a
back.
whoopsie.
Like, I was angry and I was valid in my anger, but I'm
But
sorry that I
whatevs.
talked to you like that. Let's move on.
Yeah. And you know what? I like that. We
I
don't have to make it a big dramatic thing. It's just like, that was a thing. Shall we
Yes.
move on? Cool.
CJ and Mia had one of the most insane interactions I've ever seen where they sit down and CJ goes, "Oh, do you have like a talent or anything to show me?" Like, like
What is
basically
this?
saying back,
America's
going,
Got
like,
Talent?
impress me, woman. And she goes, "Want to see what my lips do?" And they just start
Yeah.
making out. And I was like,
It was very random.
this is a lot. This is
Yeah.
a lot. What's happening?
That's what I'm saying is like a lot of these kissing things were kind of just like, hey, would you like to try kissing? And they're like, sure, okay. As opposed to just like natural
Yeah.
chemistry moments. But do we think that it's maybe because like CJ is like, you weren't here for the little talent show introductions, and I want to see what your tricks
Yeah.
are.
He's like,
Other
I
people
had
were
to
coming
do
in.
it. You never
Yeah.
have. It's your
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah, you have to play by the rules here. You don't get to walk in episode 3 and not do a talent show, okay?
Oh, that's so
So,
funny. Yeah, maybe
and
that
she
could be
said, "I'm
it.
just gonna use this to kiss you." And I said, "Fair play, I
You know
guess."
what? Good enough. Good for you,
Yeah.
Mia. So okay, Benedict and Danielle are talking and hanging out, and Elizabeth wants to interrupt, but she feels too awkward to interrupt. The girls are like, "Go interrupt."
Go, go, go.
She walks. She's like, "No." And they're like, "Go, go." She looks again. She's like, "Well, now they're passionately kissing. Like, I can't do anything."
She's like
with
straddling him. It's like
I love she describes it like, "Oh, now they're passionately kissing." I'm like, "Okay." And then when she finally goes out again to try and steal him, Benedict just like picks up Danielle and says, "Let's go get a drink," and like carries her
in like
away right in front of Elizabeth.
yeah.
But Elizabeth feels weird. Kim walks up and she's like, "Oh, Kim, like, can you
Come sit.
stay?" And then
Yeah.
Kim sits, but then Benedict comes back alone to talk to Elizabeth, and it's like an extremely awkward 2-on-1 with Kim, Elizabeth, and Benedict.
Yeah. Cause now like Kim or now Elizabeth is like, okay, I could have had my opportunity
Yeah.
to
And then,
talk to Benedict, and now
like,
Kim is here. What do I do?
in front of Benedict, Elizabeth's like, "Here's what I'll do. I'll say, Kim, shouldn't you go talk to CJ? Isn't he your first choice?" And which Kim has never said. And I think it's like a very weirdo vibe coming from Elizabeth to be like, "Oh, this woman of color must have CJ as her first choice." Like, it's a weird vibe. I don't know if she
I
meant it
didn't
like
even
that
pick up
or
on
if
that
it's
because
like an implicit. I think that's why what Kim picked up, because Kim's like, "Where did you get that from? Like, I've never said
yeah.
that."
Cause that was weird. Cause I was like, are we not gonna get a clip of like explaining where that came from? Because it was such a weird thing to do. And I sometimes in my brain mix up like name wise CJ and Casey.
Mm,
I think also because on Casey's original season, the girl that he was with was named CJ.
yes.
So my
It's
brain is
really
like constantly,
confusing.
so I actually couldn't remember who the other guy was that Elizabeth said this. So the fact that it was CJ and that it was just out of nowhere and she apparently
Yeah.
didn't say that is kind of weird. But here's where I question, again, going back to, is Elizabeth just dumb?
I think she's dumb, and
Yeah.
she's maybe got some stuff to unpack.
Yeah, because why was she so confrontational and awkward and afraid at the point where, you know, she was trying to figure out when to approach Benedict while he was with Jan Danielle, and like complete awkward turtle like situation, being like, how do I don't know what to do here. And then when Benedict comes back and Kim is on the couch, she like decides like this is the moment I'm going to be like so obviously just like, anyway, shouldn't you scram to go talk to the guy you're interested in? Isn't he your first choice? Like, there was just such a different energy.
It was weirdo. It was giving weirdo. I think Elizabeth is a weirdo. And
I mean, she definitely is. She
like, there's just
is.
like, there's, I don't know if she's dumb or if she's like a evil genius. I think she's more dumb, but I didn't. I just felt the interaction was so weird. Kim did not like it. Kim does leave, and then Elizabeth spends her whole time with Benedict talking about her ex-boyfriend, to the point where Benedict literally is like, "Maybe you should tell him that."
Yeah. She's like, I just felt like he stayed the same the entire time we were dating. That might be a good thing to bring up with him. She's like, why are you telling me this? And you know what? Very, very fair. Like, you are wasting your time talking about your past relationships with this guy after you did that and the previous day or whatever you were being associated with some conversation where people were talking shit about him. Like, you cannot get it together, girl.
Like, she needs to be a little bit more like Sabrina, I think.
Yes.
And just like back away from the drama.
Definitely take notes. Yeah. But I think she just always looks confused to me. Like I said, it's like that deer in headlights kind of look that I'm just like, I don't know if you know what's going on. Are words just streaming out of your mouth and you're not even aware that they're happening? It was such a weird
Does she know? Does she use confusion as like a weapon to get her way in her everyday life?
It
like,
works
who knows?
Usually.
Like, literally, who could know? We don't know her.
Who could know? I don't know her.
We just have seen a very small amount of her on a TV show, so we don't really know her character. But she comes back in, and Kim is like, "No, I'm not the one. Like, I'm gonna actually confront you because that was very weird what you said in front of Benedict."
And I never said that.
I never said that. And like, so maybe Benedict is Kim's first choice, right? And it's just like a very weirdo vibe.
Find out?
And because Nikki walks in and it's so awkward and weird. And then it's like,
awkward.
Well, elimination time. Hopefully everything's resolved because this is a weird vibe.
And there was lots of like layered yelling. I mean, maybe it was just edited that way to like make it seem even more chaotic than it was. But then it became kind of this thing where I can't remember if it was Elizabeth saying that like, well, you guys were talking about Sabrina on her date or whatever, or maybe that was the last episode. There was like points where like people were just like bringing up things that had nothing to do with anything, and then there was like different groups of girls getting mad at each other about different things. Like, it just kind of became like a Royal Rumble of like, you know, like separate fights were happening in the ring like simultaneously, and I'm like, it was chaos. I'm like, what are we even fighting about?
It's like point? Someone new jumps over the ropes and is like, and another thing, I have a grievance as well.
Yeah. While we're here. And like they just like keep like, you know, panning over to like the guys outside being like, what is happening here? And Nikki being like, I don't know, let's get to the elimination.
Like, anyways, I hope that's resolved. So,
and if not, good TV.
Yeah. Then we go to the elimination. So Benedict puts up Kim saying that you came in hot with a lot of confidence. I don't know what you're looking for. And Fa, whose name is Fatima. And
we did not meet her.
We have never seen her before in our lives. No. And Benedict says he's not sure if she's just saying what she thinks he wants to hear.
Which did that happen again? I'm like,
again, not on the show. I've never seen that woman in my life. When he said Fa, I was like, who? Like, I've never heard of her in my life, so I don't know. CJ puts up Alana saying not sure if they have a romantic connection, and India saying, well, we have a connection, but it's been a bit slower. Like, I'm trying to like figure out what you want, kind of vibe. And then Casey puts up Victoria saying they had a good combo and an intense physical connection. And so he's not sure what she's doing. And Anissa
But if it's another
saying,
girl, it's like, it's okay. It's like, if it's Camille, I'm
which
into
is also
it.
like when Casey like talked to Victoria, he's like, "Oh my god!" And of course you have blue eyes. Like, this is so bad. And like, y'all, we've got to give it up with this weird blue eye obsession. Like,
It's
eyes are
yeah.
pretty much any color of eye is beautiful if you look at it in the light. And
Mhm.
the weirdo obsession with blue eyes is like, it's giving eugenics, and I don't like it. And I would love it if we could all just stop.
It's like she's white and blonde and like
Wow,
it's
shocking that she of all people would have blue eye. Like, if
yeah, it's like,
anyone, if
why are you
you
shocked when you notice that? Like, you saw her.
like, if you line up all of the people on Lovers and Liars and you're like, "Okay, which ones are most likely to have blue eyes?" It's like, yeah, Victoria is up there on that list. Like, just enough. I've had
And of
enough of
course
the
you have blue
weirdo
eyes.
obsession. It's so weird.
All right, Captain
Um,
Obvious.
and then he's getting F girl vibes from Anissa, and she says, like, "I know that I'm a bottle girl from Vegas, but, like, I'm over that," which I thought was really funny. Um, so Kim, Alana, and Anissa get eliminated, and all 3 of them were F girls.
Yeah. They
Um,
good for them, I guess.
I loved it. None of them did, like, a big roast like what we've seen so far,
No.
but Kim told Benedict that he is actually really nice and deserves a good woman, and Jaslyn is really into him, and he should pursue that, which I thought was very sweet.
We love the assist on the way out.
Yeah.
Classy as hell. It's like, "Hey, I may have been an F girl, but I still think that you deserve a good woman. You're a really nice guy, and I'll tell you right here in front of everyone, when I have nothing to gain here. I'm
Yeah.
literally on the way out. This is someone that is actually truly into you." And like
So
the
I love
faces of
that.
everyone was like, "Whoa."
And Jaslyn's so excited. She's like, "Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm being genuine and showing him how much I like him, but to hear it from someone else, that's perfect."
Yeah. That has nothing to gain in that situation. True
If
too.
Jaslyn
Like,
ends up
yeah.
being an F girl and takes the money from Benedict, I will
Biggest
cry.
blindside.
It would be so
Biggest
much.
blindside.
Then we have a preview for the next episode, and it looks like Elizabeth is going to be extremely messy, and Camille is gonna be
She's
very worried about people calling her an F girl.
She should be worried about Casey calling her an F girl, which she did
Yeah.
immediately upon meeting her. But
In front of everyone. So I guess
yeah.
it's like Casey said it first, and so it kind of made it okay for everyone else to say it.
Yeah. He incepted it, you know?
Yeah, not the best, but
Yeah.
that's what happened in the first 3 episodes. It was
Mhm.
super fun to watch. I'm excited about the rest of the season.
I
What
am
do you think,
too.
Jenny?
No, I had so much fun with it. I enjoyed it even more going in, having context for for the guys, of course. I thought that they really, did a great job with casting the women. I think despite there are definitely some people that I still have barely seen, the ones that are standing out are really bringing it. Like, what I love about this format is, like, on when you have like The Bachelor and like there's like, a bunch of nice women who are trying to find a man and
Yeah.
settle down, and there's like 1 or 2 people that got cast that are just electric and like made to be on TV and are, you know going going to give the confessionals of like your classic, I'm not here to make friends, like I'm going to steal time if I need to, like bringing villain energy but in a fun way. Like,
Yes.
imagine if you get like when you have half of the women that are going to be playing the game as F girls, where they're like, I'm here to get paid. Like, I'm also not here to make friends with these girls because they're going to take my money. Like,
Yeah.
you're getting so many more of that character, and I think that just makes for a better show.
Yeah.
So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I thought I was gonna like it, but I enjoyed the first 3 episodes even more than I expected, and I think and hope it is going to continue with that energy and be really good.
Yeah, I agree completely. Hopefully, the episodes continue to be great, and hopefully, people enjoy hearing us talk about it.
Yeah.
We didn't say up at the top, but basically, we've covered these 3 episodes and kind of giving a taste of the show, and we'll be back at the end of the season to kind of talk about how it all breaks down. If a listen, if a bunch of you download and listen to it, maybe we'll get to come back, but that's not really the plan. So if you want to help us out, leave a 5-star rating and review,
Yes.
leave thumbs up on the
Reviews.
YouTube video, comment on the YouTube video, and maybe we'll be able to come back more regularly. But at the very least, we'll be back at the end of the season to tell you how it ended.
Yes, and we will be continuing to watch it weekly just to see, like, because especially if it's gonna get even better, like, you know, this deserves to be talked about if it's gonna get real spicy. But I really do hope that this was like enough to entice some people to check it out. Because there's not a lot of this genre of reality show on right now, I feel
Yes.
like. And this is maybe, I'm biased because this is like the only show like this that I'm really covering, but it's my personal favorite. Nikki Glazer continues to kill it as the host. Like, she's
She's so
so
funny.
fun. The energy of this show is like so unserious, but like in a way that is still like dramatic and fun. Like, it's just a good watch. And so I will continue to enjoy it. Yeah. And any time that I get to talk to Kirsten is like a dream.
A dream for us
So
both. Love
yeah.
talking to you. So yeah, if the people listening or watching want to hear more from you, Jenny, where can they find you?
I'm on social media at Jenny Autumn. I sometimes am present and sometimes less present.
Fair.
Like, social media is like kind of rough some days. But I'm continuing to cover Deal or No Deal Island, Dondi with Rob Cesternino and Chappelle over on the Hit or Quit feed. Wow, what an unexpectedly, I mean, I was excited for it, but it's been such a fun and good show. So we're continuing to cover that. And also, depending on when this podcast goes live, I will have already covered the premiere of season 2 of, yes, that is right, MILF Manor. MILF Manor. The MILFs are back. So Chappelle, Rob, Puya, and I will be getting back together to discuss the premiere of MILF Manor. So check that out as well. I think it'll be on YouTube and maybe the main feed. I don't really know. I think I might even be in the 90 Day Fiancé feed because it's a TLC show. Find it.
Who knows?
Love it. What a ridiculous show that is. Always a fun
I
time talking
cannot
to
believe
those
it got
guys.
renewed.
I can't either, but also, wow, what a time to be alive.
Love it.
So,
Love that for you.
yeah, I appreciate anyone checking those out. And yeah, that's it.
Amazing. And if people want to hear more from me, this week I'm going to be on the 90 Day Fiancé wrap up with Puya, which will be really fun. And every single week, Sasha, Joseph, and I are together on Mess Magnets talking celebrity gossip, trending topics, just vibes, having a good time. And we'll be doing that for our 100th episode this week. So definitely go check that as well. And you can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What, including twitch.tv/Kirsten Said What. If you could leave a 5-star rating and review on the Hot Dummies on Islands podcast feed, it would be really helpful for people looking for coverage of the show because there's not a lot of it out there. And at the very least, Jenny and I will see you at the end of the season to let you know how Lovers and Liars plays out. See you then.
Bye.